our strategic planning for next year, and we've been talking to a number of TAG members, Andrew, like I told you this morning too, is that we think TAG is going to start putting together some web shares that you can invite your membership to and have a third party endorsement. Hey, we belong to this multinational organization. We're all the things that TAG represents, because the TAG organization is one of the finest, most impactful organizations on our industry that's out there. We do set trends. We're hoping that we can get every 6 weeks put out a web share that you can invite your customers to from an educational standpoint, where an executive summary, and it's going to be geared for and marketed to the CFOs of your customer base. And it'll be such things as remote workforce, SD-WAN, just different technologies that educational, 45 minutes, and then simply say, hey, if you have any interest, contact the people who invited you. And we're hoping that we'll do a national web share for our TAG members that you can invite customers to, that you're not selling to them, but you're educating them through a third party. And if they have interest, they'll contact you and they'll follow up. And we think it'll be another value that we are able to bring to everybody.
I think that's awesome.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, when the more we've been playing with it, we've had an opportunity to talk to some of the TAG members for input like that, Todd. So what we're asking everybody to do, hey, you got a topic, throw it to us, because January, I think we're all meeting in January. We're going to try to put the programs together for every 6 weeks. We have a executive technology briefing for CFOs. See what happens.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And like I say, Dean, if you guys have a subject that you're trying to get out there, it's a real benign way of getting your message out there. It's a third party endorsement of how wonderful your company is, and that we belong to this multinational organization. We do $500 million a year in product and services. We're in 138 cities across the United States and Canada. And as a group, we have 600,000 plus customers, which gives us a brain bank of technology. There isn't any technology out there they're not looking at, deciding, rejecting, or exploring that gives us an advantage, because we also have cooperative purchasing, which allows us to be more competitive in the marketplace. Now, and then what that means to our customer base is that you have international presence with local presence, the best of both worlds. And then the CFOs are going to look at your company a little bit more and say, oh, well, these guys have access to everything. It's just one more thing of saying, hey, you know what? Here we've differentiated ourselves in the marketplace. So we think it's going to be successful. We'll see what the results are on the first couple that we do, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's jump into it here. So as we talked, as people are joining, this is not going to be a PowerPoint presentation. This is going to be an opportunity to connect, to share with peers across the nation, the TAG network, and in Canada. Basically, taking a look back at what we've done so far in the last 11 sessions. This is the 12th and final session to really recap everything we've done and have a discussion about it. Talk about takeaways, talk about what we've implemented, share any feedback of the format of what we liked or what we would like to see change or improve moving forward. And then take all that as well based on the time of the year. December, for me, is always an exciting time because you can take a look back at what you accomplished that year, put together a plan going into next year, and all this can be applied to sales plan going into 2021. We'll open up a discussion here. Before we go into just open conversation discussion, I'm sure people will have some questions or some shares. But before that, let's take a quick look back as a reminder of the sessions we've been through. So we started off, Dale kicked us off with the setting the stage, laying the groundwork on understanding the sales transaction, position yourself to win the deal. Went through the mindset side of things, or who you perceive yourself to be, went into psycho-cybernetics, really set the stage to go into the rest of the training here. Then went into developing and executing the sales plan. At TAG, we talk a lot about as a sales professional, you're in business for yourself without the risk. What does that mean? Is that you have to be able to know where you're going, what are your goals, what's the plan, and how you're going to get there. And then that allows, once you share it, for management or partners, resource at TAG to be able to support you in doing that and accomplishing those. We went into that in the second session and hope that many took advantage of putting those plans together. And if not, now's the time to do it looking into next year. The third session was selling to all personality types and leveraging DISC in the sales environment and being able to adapt and identify different styles so that we can build better rapport and capture opportunities we have by leveraging DISC. Then went into prospecting above the line. So we broke it into two sessions, above the line and below line prospecting. Above the line, we talked about differences is it's relationship based. We're using bird dogs, elite groups, referral partners, leveraging existing customers in the base to generate opportunities. And then below line is everything else, from cold calling to knocking on doors, email campaigns, etc. So we talked a whole lot about basically how to fill the pipeline, both leveraging relationships and not. Then went into objection handling and talked about the idea of not just responding to objections, but getting ahead of them, anticipating them, planting seeds along the process so that we are uncovering those and addressing them before they become an issue as we get towards the end of the sales cycle. Then we jumped into the actual steps of the process. We call phase one, phase two, the pre-planning and the first meeting. Pre-planning, all the things that we do from sending front-end packages, confirming the meeting, all the due diligence that leads up to putting the best foot forward in that first meeting. And then the first meeting, what does that look like? On the IT side, the most important thing to walk out that meeting with is an appointment for the second meeting, conduct the network assessment, get that on the calendar, get permission, collect phone bills on the voice side, keep the process moving forward, and set the stage for that next step. So there isn't a lull or gap coming out of that first meeting. Then went to the performing network assessment. What do we need to capture to be able to assemble the right solution? The rapid fire tools gives us network assessment information, collecting phone bills on the voice side, doing a site survey. We talk about all the different components that we need to understand. What does the infrastructure look like so that we know if there's old equipment, we know if the wrong wiring is there, so that when we do put together a solution, it's going to be all encompassing and we're not going to have to circle back because we didn't know something. So we talk about all the information we need to collect there. They went into making a recommendation meeting. This is something that really differentiates in the marketplace because we don't just come back with a quote. We actually don't quote at all. It's a proposed solution, right? And in order to do that, we first come back and get a consensus that we're both on the same page. We have a recommendation of what we think is going to be the best thing to move forward, but then have a discussion about that. And then that leads into the final proposal, which we talk and halfway jokingly talk about. The proposal is the logical conclusion to a well thought out process. If you follow all the steps, then naturally you're going to get to that end result. We went into the proposals of the IT, separated those out from the voice side of it, went through both of those to really wrap up the whole process. So that's where we concluded last week. If you haven't watched either live or recording videos of that, all of them are on the TAG website now. If you need help in where they are, it's pretty straightforward. But let me know. I can send you direct links to make it easy for you so you can watch any of those old ones. Dale, anything before we jump into kind of discussion, Q&A, anything you want to add to that, looking back at the last 11 sessions?
Well, after that presentation, we all know now why he's replaced me. So
Okay, so jumping into this here this is you guys' meeting. I'll circle back towards the end. We have the time that permits is talk about takeaways, what we're implementing. Let's start off with any questions, clarification. Are there any things you've applied that you could use some feedback or strategy on? Anyone want to share first?
I'll have no objections to jump in here. This is Jeff from Technolink.
Jeff?
I think, going back, a lot of these things we heard originally when we first joined TAG. And for me, once again, it was very refreshing to look at those steps and put yourself back into alignment and follow a pattern or process. I've been more reactive than I want to be on my sales plan. I'm more reactive as opposed to being proactive. But I found that's something I've got to focus on. I love the part of the disc and the personalities. That's something I use day to day. I think as we got further into this, a couple of the last ones got more into the data and the rapid fire tools and things like that, which really didn't apply to myself. But it was interesting to listen to it, and I'm slowly going to get this, Dale. I'm going to figure out this data side, but right now I'm still the voice guy. But I really enjoyed the series, and they've been really, really helpful and refreshing. So thank you.
So a suggestion has been made to us that we're under consideration right now, and just like to get some input, is that at the end of the sessions, we have that questions and answer period. And the suggestion has been made is to cut that out and then come in and say, hey, off of this session, here's the most frequently asked questions from this, and then come in and we'll give the answer to those questions. And the reason they made that is that there's not a lot of structure to that questioning. So we're thinking about eliminating that section of it, and then we'll come in and say, okay, after this session, here's the most frequently asked questions, and then we'll answer those questions. Does that make more sense, or would that be more value for someone going back and listening to those?
I think it would.
Okay.
I'm always too shy to ask questions.
Well, yeah, and we get that. I mean, as we were watching these, because it's the first time we did it, we're seeing what do we have to change, and like I say, we're looking for constructive criticism. And that was one of the criticisms that we did receive, and when we looked at it, it made a lot of sense to us. So we're going to get rid of that, and then those sessions are going to come back in and say, okay, here's the most frequently asked questions, and then we're looking for your feedback on those too. Okay.
I too think it's a great idea, because I think at the end of a session, a couple of things. One is that we've heard so much that it's hard to recapture them all and start thinking of our questions. Yeah. I also agree with what Todd said. It's not that I'm the shy one, but by the end of that session, you're starting to think about, we got to get moving on our next deal here. So I appreciate that, but I think that's a good recap of the important parts. I think that's a wonderful idea.
All right.
Yeah, you hit an important point, because the theme on these has been to be little bits and pieces of information that we're getting. So when you get this session and it's 30 minutes, 40 minutes long, that's good. We've absorbed all that. So by taking away that kind of Q&A, those dead periods, the silences, you've made it more efficient. You come in, you ask some questions, you answer them, boom, I'm on to the next thing. So
okay,
thumbs up.
All right. Well, like I said, that's our project for January. As we put the questions up, we'll send out an email and say, okay, go back and listen to it, and then at least look at the questions and make it a little cleaner, a little quicker. And we're trying to do some little bit more editing, and we'll go from there. So, all right, thanks, guys. And collaboration is always the best. Yes, Penny.
Just a thought. What if we turned it into an actual certification, like a tag certification? Like, I'm proud of Spencer on the call here. He was able to sit on all 12 courses, and it would be neat if maybe each course there was one sort of takeaway as a something to work on, and it doesn't have to be anything big, but just some piece of segment from that. Like, maybe you'll start mailing out the front end package, which we now do. Maybe you will just tweak something, and take into consideration the disc, and that could be something I could have our sales guys, say, for this year I want you to be, tag sales certified.
So great question, great input as always, Penny. We are when January comes, we're really heavily looking at an LMS system, learning management system, so that you as an owner, you as a salesperson know what courses you took, and then we'll have testing after each course, and then there'll be scoring, and then that will be kept in the learning management system. One of our huge initiatives this year going into 2021 is we will have a learning management system that will do exactly what you're looking for. And it'll be used not only for certification, but it'll also be used is that when you set up the timelines for employee development, you'll be able to pull down the reports, who in your company is developing and who's participating in what programs, and then there'll be like I say, a 5-6 session testing or questions. How would you answer this? That's what we're trying to evolve. So that's a
Wonderful. Yeah,
second
that's great.
priority. Yeah, second priority for 2021 is that the deployment of a learning management system.
Don't forget the cash bonus, Dale.
Oh,
Spencer, are you
no,
muted?
you don't have to pay me anything. It's okay. Most people pay me in wine recently. I've been finding this, and I don't know what that's all about.
US dollars?
Yeah.
But it's that this learning management system and the micro learning has been really interesting. I think we've really added another dimension to TAG. For every door that closes, 2 open, and the 2 doors that have opened is our learning micromanagement classes, micro learning classes, and us realizing, hey, if we're going to do this, we need to go into an LMS program to solidify that. And eventually we will get back to. We believe in 2021 we'll get back to some small regional meetings, all right, and we'll see how this thing develops over the next couple of years. But I think it's made TAG a better company of delivery of our services as a result of it. You finally can go back in and review, the process in a timely manner and by section. Because those of you who are planning sales meetings, take a section and say, "That's my sales meeting for that week or month or whatever you're going to do." So just a lot of value has been brought.
Yeah, it's a great point right there, Dale, is that there's a number of members that have said that it's been a heavy component of their sales meeting, right? It's having the whole team watch that week, and then as a team in the sales meeting. And so one has an opportunity to share what their takeaways were, what they're going to apply this week, and use it as a glue, make sure everyone's on the same page, right? Doing the same things. Yeah, there's a number of teams that are taking advantage of that, which is nice because that also speaks to the format, right? That's the next thing I want to get some feedback on is traditionally, Penny and Jeff and a number of other you have been to the 1.5-day sales training. There's a little bit of a fire hose, a lot of information, but you can't take it all and digest it and then apply it coming out of that, right? The format of one session a week for the last 12 weeks has broken it up to be a little more manageable, it seems like. I'm curious from everyone's feedback, whether you've been to the previous training a 1.5 days or not, any feedback on one training a week and the ability to have that be a pace that is a little more applicable when you're taking things in?
I'll jump back in because, I thoroughly enjoy having the privilege of going to one of these classes. And they're always wonderful to get to know people and other people in the TAG, and there's something within the organization. And I think there's always something lost as we lose that part of how we've done business. But as Dale said, this opened up a whole new chapter that I think has worked out really well. And that's using the tools like Zoom. I think breaking down the class for myself allows me to, again, get the information, but then keep my day-to-day business going as opposed to 3 days out of the office completely, pretty much. So I think it was a nicely laid out format, and we're using the technology that we all work with.
Good. Anybody else have any thoughts, feedback on that?
Yeah, for me, this is Andrew with HelloWire. I've not been to the full 1.5 day sessions or had someone here on site. So this class has been new to me. I would say the useful aspect of having it recorded on video is if I'm unfamiliar with a certain step of the sales process that I'm in, I can then go back to the video and kind of get a refresher that morning or the afternoon before, whatever is planned with the customer. So it's useful in that regards, just going back and finding that information.
I know, Andrew, the other thing too here is when you all look at a session, whoever did that session, you have their email, you have their phone number, they'd love to hear from you with questions. I mean, you have a true mentoring, person that will mentor you on that particular session, and they know it as well as anybody in the industry that session. So you have some one-on-one mentoring anytime you want to pick up a phone or send an email, guys and ladies.
Hey Ryan, it's Herb Sherman. I was just wondering, we don't sell Zoom. We do sell Intermedia and all the other few other cloud computing services, and we sell AnyMeeting with that. So I'm just wondering if utilizing some of the dog, eating your own dog food, holding these sessions via AnyMeeting, or Mitel's meeting solution may be a little more apropos.
Are you talking about in your sales situations when you're out meeting with your customers and prospects, Herb?
Yeah, we usually demonstrate like AnyMeeting and stuff like that.
Yeah, and any chance you can get an opportunity to use your own tools, interacting with the customer and prospect, that's gonna be better than maybe a third party, right? So that way you show them exactly here's the solution that we're using, which is what we're gonna be talking about in the solution we're presenting, right? I agree with that. Absolutely. Is that how you're currently doing it?
Yeah, that's how we're doing it. I'm just wondering about these meetings, that you guys are conducting. I'm not sure anybody's selling Zoom at this point in time. So on the sales side, just to become more familiar with the products that we're selling, would that be more beneficial for us to all utilize the product that we are selling?
Well, here's what we use Zoom, guys. So, and in fact, I got asked that question this morning, and it's quicker, faster, easier, less difficult, and it has more features than anything else that we've seen. I mean, I know we're eventually going to go to Teams, but they're not there yet. I was on a what's the Cisco platform now? WebEx. I mean, that was the clunkiest thing I've ever been on. We've been on GoToMeeting. We've been on everything else. So, this is this particular video technology continues to be more and more utilized. It's going to get more and more refined. I mean, here, like even right now today, there's only 50% of us that are using the video side. And, with Zoom, all you do is, if you have a camera on your laptop or a camera, you're already on it. And that's bringing the human element back into not being able to sit down with somebody. At least when we do these kind of sessions, all right, we get to see each other, we get to see reactions and so forth. So, Tag hasn't settled in on anything right now. Right now, we're using Zoom because here's how easy it is. We send out an invite, and the end user hits one button, and they're in. All right, the only one that does that. It has easier recording. It's the easiest platform to use, and let that and here, that's what your end user is looking for. They don't care about H24.3. They're looking for how easy is it to be able to utilize it. And right now, Zoom has that space. It's the easiest platform out there, not only to use, but to send somebody to go use it. I mean, this morning, this WebEx, it's been so long since I've used WebEx. I had to download it. I had to wait for it to come in and and it was like, are you kidding me? So, but like I say, Herb, you're going to see tremendous amount of intelligence because the next real go around, guys, and we're working feverishly on this, is AI, is artificial intelligence is going to be, it's going to be like what Amazon was. That is the technology that has the highest potential of growth, to make money with, to do everything you want to do with it, and so forth. So, the AI side of our business and you're going to see that really, really start accelerating here in the next 12 to 18 months. And you're going to see it develop in the format that we're doing here too. I hope I answered the question of why we're using Zoom for right now.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like for ease of use, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions you ones have? So then curious,
Just a quick one, Ryan, and it's just
Yeah,
some feedback. And I believe in what Penny said about some sort of quiz at the end and some certification kind of thing, maybe at the end of each class, because it tends to bring the viewer in tighter and really utilize the material better. One other thing that I thought during the process, and I didn't make all 11. I took them. If I missed a week, I actually took it before the next meeting online, and I went through it. And I thought all the classes were really done well. One of the things that stands out to me is in most cases, whether it's telephone or IT services, you guys had a very real clear scripted process. And I think that like having like one document out there with all the processes together, and maybe you do have that somewhere on your site, would be a good refresher. I think that's one takeaway that I took back to my team and said, hey, they have a very, very scripted, detailed process that we want to, use as a benchmark. And I think having that all in one place is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as you know, the recordings are all there that have the actual slide and the presentation, and then right below that, there's a slide deck so you can download too that have all that information there. And we have gotten some feedback or requests as well to put some additional documents or almost a playbook together. That's something.
That's pretty much the direction I was headed, like a playbook.
Yeah,
perfect wording, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, because even though it is broken into weekly things, it's still by the end of it, it's a lot of information, right? And so you want to be able to refer back, and the recordings are great, slide decks are good. But yeah, I hear you. That would make sense. Okay, appreciate that feedback. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. So Ed, I know you've been joining I think you've hit every single meeting, haven't you, Ed?
Yeah, there was one that I think I didn't register for, so I missed it, but I went back and watched it.
Okay, well, we won't hold that one against you. But I know this is a newer process for you, so you've been joining pretty much all of these. Any feedback or takeaways you want to share?
They've been good. I mean, it's been really. I think really the process side is the piece that we've been missing for the past maybe year or two, and we really take. In fact, we had a meeting this morning with the entire team to map out exactly a lot of the things that we talked about while you're here, but also things that we've seen on all the presentations. So we've got it ironed out. We've got a test case with a really good customer right now that we're going to do a network scan with on Thursday. We're game planning for the assessment and making sure we have that process down before we go into it. So we want to follow everything to a T and hit all the markers because we really want to see what the difference makers are and doing that versus what we've done before. So I think once we get through that process and we get down the road with them, all the way up to maybe the first QBR with them, it's really going to give us a lot of information and really solidify the entire process. So we appreciate it.
One of the things that a process does also is when everyone in your company is using the same process, it also brands your company. The marketplace starts understanding, hey, this company does it differently. This company sets the bar. All right. So you're branding with a process, and having a process is that if the process isn't working, all right, you can fix it. And if everyone's doing it the same way, you're telling the same story, and you're branding your company throughout the marketplace. So it has a little bit of a side effect there too. So Ed,
absolutely
good.
Nice. Yeah, one other thing too that came out in our conversations, Ed, that stuck out a lot to me was thinking back is that, and this goes to your comments too, Frank, is that it's a process. There's multiple steps. There's quite a few steps, right? By design, to slow it down, to build rapport, to get the right information, etc. And as on the sales side, is that it's not always we're not always have that next task. There's different tasks that go to the operations side, right? Network assessment, all the different pieces that go along that process, but we own that process, and it's up to us to be able to keep it moving forward and be responsible for it. It sticks out to me. It's like you are coordinating all the resources throughout the whole process. And there's that next step, then it's on us to be able to say, okay, where's that out in the process? What's the next step? Is it time for me to grab it back and take it here? What is that? Because if we lose control of that, or if there's too big of a lull, say, for example, we often see it in between a network assessment meeting and then having an internal debrief and then going back to a recommendation meeting, is that sometimes, if more than 7-10 business days go into that's too long, right? And 2 weeks go by or 3 weeks, then you're in trouble. That was something big that Ed, we talked a decent amount when I was out there in Texas about. It's our responsibility throughout the whole process to coordinate resources and keep them moving forward. So that was something that, in teaching and coaching this stuff is learn stuff as well. And that was something that I stood out to me as a big takeaway, that if you own the process, then, you're going to keep it going the right direction. So.
The other thing too is it makes it so much easier to identify, like, let's say you go through the process and you don't reach the logical conclusion you expected. How much more easy is to go back and identify where you took a misstep than it is if you had been winging it the whole time with just some willy-nilly process you've been doing before. I mean, the conversation is always like, oh, we could have done this, or we could have done that and that. Well, reality is, like, you can say all those things, but you don't know unless you followed it step by step.
Yeah, beautiful.
So
That's a great point. It's a great point. Because then you can look back and, as a team, individual, you can say, okay, I know what the steps were. Now, did I hit them all? Which ones did I miss? Now, that probably is going to lead to where you didn't get the business closed, right?
So I think it'll be something, that'll bleed into other lines of business that I'm not responsible for, but ultimately that's what we're going to have to follow, on the hardware side and some of the other things that we're in with our other products too.
Yeah.
It'll make everybody better all around.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
It'd be interesting to see, like, a month from now, if you had like testimonials from people who took the course and implemented certain aspects of it and what the impact to their business was. Because it could be something that maybe we didn't focus on and we should have. And if we've seen it, that it worked for Ed or it worked for Frank, that I should do it too. So it'd be neat if you could get people, if they did implement something that they learned, what that impact was to their business and how hard was it to implement.
Going back to a little bit of what Ed said, I come from the manufacturing world, and this cowboy up sales world is a little different. And one of the things that the sales team here needs is some structure. So the timing of the training and the process was very key for me. And so now we can take these things back and really wrap them into our processes and wrap things a little tighter. And as I've shared some of these examples in our sales meeting, I've had the other sales guys who are the undisciplined cowboys say, yeah, I wish we would have had that a year ago, and I wouldn't have lost that sale probably. So I know there's extreme benefit into what we've learned here over these weeks. And that's why I've even, when I've had to skip one, even taken it online, because I identify with the benefit. So it's, we've also had a number of visits by Brian here locally to help us with some business planning, strategic objectives for TelePlus's business. So, I put a lot of value into what you guys have taught us.
Great.
So on that topic, strategic planning, maybe by show of hands or for those who aren't on video, they want to comment. How many of you have put together your plan for going into 2021 in terms of your owner, either business plan or salesperson, individual sales plan? So percentage, not all. December, we want to do that. And if you guys, as we talked about it in that session, is that we're happy to give feedback. If you want to share with us, take a look at on it, help implement it, training to be able to support through that process as well. That's what we're here for at TAG. So please take us up on that. If you're putting together your plans, or if you haven't done so yet, December is a great time to do that and share it with us. And we'll share some feedback and help bring some improvements to it if we can. Okay.
Yeah, Ryan. Usually the mid-December is when we start to plan for 20 or the following year.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be reaching out because to get ahead of some of the things we strategize internally. So.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. All right. So, anyone else have any comments or any success to share or any challenges there? They could use some feedback on from the group here.
Ryan, this is Herb Sherman again. I just want to say thank you to yourself and to Dale, because these things have been so professionally presented and invaluable to the sales process, and the knowledge that our staff is getting from them. I think it's really been a wonderful series, and I want to put out there thank you for all the hard work you guys put into it.
Well, we appreciate that. It's always nice to hear feedback on it, good or bad, but we prefer the good. So thank you. It's revitalized me too. After going through all these and delivering some, I had a lot of takeaways out of it as well. Even though I've been doing the process for years, and now I want to get back into to sales. So I'm going to be talking to Dale about that as well. I can get back in sales. Any other feedback from anybody? Comments? Otherwise, Dale, anything else on your agenda as we start to wrap up here? We got about 15 minutes left or so.
No, I mean, here, like I say, I mean, collaboration, constructive criticism, we're all in the same boat, all trying to get in the same direction. We're all trying to learn from each other. And, it's the value of what TAG's all about is that it's a two-way street. And, when we find somebody here, 20% of us can hit a particular target. Why can't the rest of us? And that interaction between everybody is what makes us unique and different, and we also hold ourselves accountable. So we try to be pretty innovative. We're constantly coming up with new ideas and concepts. Suggestions are always appreciative, and we just want to make TAG a better and better organization to belong to. And we've been very, very successful in the 21 years that we've been doing this, that it's had a lot of impact. And we don't want to forget about being profitable, because we have to be profitable. There's just a lot of things that we just want to put together. But, here, I know everybody at TAG absolutely is passionate, enjoys every day what they're doing. And that's because we're serving some really good entrepreneurial mentality and some really intelligent people. And it's always fun. We always have fun what we're doing.
Okay. Well, unless there's anything else from anybody, we can stay on here if anyone else wants to socialize a little bit and talk. Otherwise, we can start to wrap up here and thank everybody for participating. There's always the 80-20 rule, right? And even within TAG, and it all comes down to applying. So highly encourage, apply what's been taught and what's been shared and resources. And like Dale and myself been reiterating, is use us at TAG moving forward. You come across anything you have questions on, or any clarity, or just a sounding board, please reach out to us. You have our phone numbers, emails, okay?
And with that, Andrew, the one-on-one sessions that we're having, with you and your company, I mean, has it been impactful?
Yes, it has. It's definitely helped strategize and also angle as far as targeting the existing customer base, which I think that, coming on board with Telewire recently, I think that they haven't done a whole lot of that in the past. So I'm looking forward to learning the steps that you've gone through with the rest of the team, and then mirroring that with other existing clients.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, for those who have a customer base, Andrew, best prospects you could ever ask for, right? If you have an opportunity to either upsell or cross-sell with old technology or different offerings, because you have that relationship side, right? Above line prospecting is a foot ahead. Whether they know you or not, that helps for sure. But just a recognition, familiarity of the company is a whole lot easier to start that conversation than just net new.
So Penny, I know you're in that program, and yesterday I wasn't quite sure if I heard how many appointments have the program set for your company?
I think I saw 2 more this morning come through while I was tied up on calls. So we're just shy of 15, I want to say.
So you have 15 new appointments?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Ryan, you're going to have to, step it up a little bit.
Well, what was our goal a week, Ryan? We had a pretty lofty goal.
Yeah,
I had a pretty lofty goal, not Ryan.
Yeah.
I did.
It's a shared goal now. You said it, but now it's a shared goal.
Here's our goal with that program is that, slow it down because we can't handle it. And, it's Ryan's done an absolute phenomenal job with that. And, 15 appointments, the next step is the sales process that we have. If you apply the sales process to those appointments, you're going to get it's going to have significant impact. So, you ask for significant impact. We'll have you do a session on, okay, we had 20 appointments this month. Here's what we closed. Here's what we didn't close. And here's why. And here's what the end result is. I mean, program is, phenomenal. So, but
Yeah.
you know,
And at the
15
very
appointments.
least, it's getting us out there and talking to clients that we may not have embarrassingly talked to for over a year. So if anything, it's getting us out in front of them and just introducing us again to them and what we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great program.
Yeah.
And that's the key, right? Is just get in front of your customers, and 'cause
Yeah.
that's the first thing stands out. When I came on as an intern with you, Dale, like a little over 11 years ago now, is he used to just tell me, just get me in front of somebody, and I'll create an opportunity.
Yeah.
I took it serious. I got in front of a lot of people.
And I still just let me get in front of somebody. That's all you
Yeah.
can. You know, as a sales guy, just give me an opportunity to tell my story. It's all I want.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that program that Ryan's put together is doing that. So, you know, I'm thrilled with those results. And that's pretty much what we're seeing across everybody who's in the program is that, you know, they got more appointments than what they can really do with. And how many of us would like to have 10 new appointments every month?
Hmm.
I
Can
go
we
to
get
heaven.
more information on this program?
Yeah. Just contact Ryan. You know, there's a couple criteria that's in there, but yeah, just you know, we're in the process of he's starting to scale it now. We had the beta. Now we're starting to scale, and you know, we're hoping that he has his business plan for 2021 and the scaling and everything else, and you know, there's certain criteria that'll make it work, and then once that gets to a certain point, then that program will continually evolve. And oh, by the way, what he's doing is what we teach of how to get on the phone and ask for an appointment. Okay, guys. Well, it's always a pleasure. I mean, you don't know how much pleasure I have with these kind of conversations. So thank you.
Very
Thank
happy
you.
holiday to everybody.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everyone. Good luck,
Yeah.
Luke. Hope you feel
Thank
better.
you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks
Good
for
luck.
everything.
Be safe,
Bye bye.
everybody.
Thanks,
Take care,
everybody.
Luke.
All right. Love you all.